You, okay, you are good to go.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Chris, if you would do the roll, please.
Yes. Deanna Carlson,
Here.
Todd Lavieri,
Here.
Michael Chen,
He said here, he's just muted.
Michael, you can hear us, right?
Here, sorry, I was muted.
okay, he's here. Chris Labrise is here. Victor Alvarez.
Here.
Maria Weingarten,
Here.
Robert Hamill,
Here.
James Yao. Yeah, I know. Nicholas Matrakis,
Here.
Jan Schaefer,
Here.
Steve Doka,
Here.
Alan Bedaines.
Here.
Okay, except for James, do you want to sit somebody or do you want to give him 5 minutes?
Well, we have a quorum. We don't really need his vote for anything, so
Yeah, we've got,
we're fine.
okay.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the February 27th, the March 4th, and March 6th meetings. I'd like to do them as a group unless there's an objection and or a problem with something, but they looked okay to me. Motion to approve the 3 meetings minutes.
So moved.
Victor, second.
Sure.
Victor, Maria.
Either one.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, with that, I'd like to turn it over to Deanna for an update.
Okay, thank you. Probably the most exciting thing, and I'm going to leave it to Anne, was the approval of the budget on April 3rd, last Thursday. So I'll let her give you all of those highlights. But in addition to that, at Thursday's meeting, there was a $17.8 million approval of a refunding, so that Anne, in coordination with our financial advisor, Bill Lindsay, and our legal counsel, Sandy, at Pullman Dawson, sorry, his name's escaping me. They'll be watching the market and seeing if we can reduce our interest costs on about $17.8 million of our outstanding issuance. So stay tuned for that. And then we are in the April 22nd will be the final date of the tax sales. We have received to date $632,667 in outstanding taxes. So that's exciting. And we still have another $5 million of outstanding still to be paid. So we've got five that have been paid and 4 that we're waiting on, and hopefully we'll get a few more before they go to the auction on the 22nd.
Just a question on that process. So on the 23rd, what happens?
So
If they haven't, for something that hasn't been paid?
So if the sale is on the 22nd, they have 6 months, I believe. So if the winners still have to wait 6 months to for the owner or the prior owner to cure their outstanding taxes. So if they do that within the 6 months, then, the buyer will get their deposit back and the owner can get their house back. But at 6 months.
Okay.
So that's how that works. On some exciting news, the Playhouse, I was just notified today that they received a preservation award from the state of Connecticut. And it's called it's a Conservation Award of Merit, and there's going to be on May, I believe, 8th, they'll receive that award in New Haven, I think. I got the invitation just today, so stay tuned, but that's another exciting award for that town asset. And then Tucker's been, really kind of corralling a group of residents and not-for-profit leaders around our America 250. July 4th, 2026 will be the 250th. And I know Maria's she's working through that also. And then just mark your calendars, April 18th, is the kickoff of Paul Revere's ride. That's kind of the start of the 250th celebration. So, police station, that is expected to be, operational on June 3rd. They'll be out of 39 Locust and in the new facility. So that's exciting, and they're still on budget. So under budget, hopefully still.
One quick on that, will there be any kind of, are you doing a ribbon cutting? Are we doing a little?
There will
little,
be. There will
you
be.
should-
They're working on, there's a plaque being created. There's all kinds of stuff being done. So
Okay.
Stay tuned
Okay.
for that. Capo Field, the weather has not been kind. The spring weather has not been kind. And so that will likely not be ready. My latest, I thought it was gonna be the end of April. Now it's sounding like May, middle of May before that'll be ready. So that's where we are on that. Human Services, if you go to the Human Services button, they now have a donation portal. Thank you, Anne, for working with them to create a really safe way for the community if they want to contribute to some of our most vulnerable. You can go on the Human Services website, on the town's website, and donate through that portal. And then obviously DPW projects, this is the time of year they all start. The bump outs on Elm Street will be started. There's going to be 4, 2 at the intersection of Elm and South Avenue on the south side of the street. And then another 2 across from the Playhouse at the Bank of America building. So those will be coming. We are going to do those in April after kind of polling the business owners at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast. So they didn't seem to mind that it was going to happen in April. So that should be about a 3 to 4 week project. Repaving of Elm Street and Pine Street. Pine Street's the last street in New Canaan to, it's the oldest street that has not been paved. So that'll happen in August. And they'll be looking this spring, summer to do the loading zone up at the Playhouse lot. So that all those dumpsters that are disgusting on the back side there, they're going to get moved into a hillside across in the parking lot, and then a loading zone and ramp between Le Pen and the movie theater will be created for both deliveries and, ADA accessibility and strollers. So, and then that will kind of feed into being able to have the favorite topic I love to bring up is meters on Elm Street. So parking on Elm and free on Park Street. We're still socializing that, but it's, we're moving ahead. Some bad news, South Avenue is going to be shut down between Farm Road and Harrison Avenue for 2 summers, from the day after school gets out until the day school starts, and it does not benefit New Canaan at all. It is Aquarian Water has to install a 36-inch water main, and they're thinking it will take 2 summers to get that completed. So we're trying to make everyone aware. Local traffic obviously will be able to get. It's going to be a mess for those 2 summers. Irwin House, we're proceeding. It'll be actually there's money being approved at Tuesday's Board of Selectmen meeting for the environmental survey for the Irwin House demolition. So that's moving forward. Police and fire negotiations are going to be happening this summer. And I agreed to be on a WestCog subcommittee related to the Aquarian or the Eversource sale of Aquarian to RWA. So there's a group of first selectmen in the area that are going to be discussing that and strategizing on how to make that transaction more appealing to everyone. Kiwanis, we have a master plan committee up and running. It's being headed by Keith Ritchie. Amy Murphy Carroll wanted to be on that as well. So they are reviewing sort of what is it that we as a community want to do with Kiwanis. That was a budget discussion that we pulled some capital projects out and said, let's get a strategic plan. So that's moving ahead. Affordable housing decisions. Let's see, Weed and Elm we were supposed to get notification this week. It has now been delayed till May 7th. I guess the judge on this case was assigned a criminal case, and so he's even more backlogged. Hill Street, the judge, they changed out the judge recently, and that judge visited today the property, so that's just starting up again. And then 51 Main, we won, but there's some things going on there that are gonna delay it some more. So it's just a stay tuned. And then just for you guys, I just wanted everyone to be aware. Congressman Himes had earmarked a little over $1 million for the UV light for our wastewater treatment facility. DPW keeps asking me to move forward on it, and I say no until the government can get their budget going, because I'm not going to put $1 million at risk. So, so that's just being, we are still on target to do that. It's just, we need the federal government to get a budget so we can know if we have that $1 million or not. So that's it.
Okay,
Any questions?
great update.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the status of the Weed Street Affordable Housing Project?
You mean the Weed and Elm?
Yeah.
So that's the one where it just got delayed again
that was
till
right.
May
All right.
7th. So everything's good. It's super back. It was all those affordable housing cases. The reason why Hill Street is no longer with Judge O'Hanlon is he's so backed up. They assigned it to another judge, but now O'Hanlon is on a criminal case. So he's backed up even more.
Are these all appeals, or, because I felt like we were winning on a bunch
Yeah.
of them.
Yes, so Weed and Elm is an appeal of P&Z's decision. They lost the sewer line case, so that's not appeal of that, but and then Hill Street is, they just have to, it's an appeal of the decision by both inland wetlands and planning and zoning, so. That's where we go. And 51 Main is just, we're continuing to, so nobody get mad at me when my legal bills start going back up.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, and we've got a few key things here.
Good evening. First, I'll start with, as you know, Josh moved on to take a promotion in another town. So we've been very fortunate that Ryan Stacy was
No.
Yeah,
you have to
but I'm not
be
close
a
enough.
little lot closer. Yeah.
We're very fortunate that Ryan was able to come and enjoy our team. Right now, he's working with us as a consultant basis on it. He's got great Munis skills. He's actually pumped out the financials already, did a lot of our budget transfers. So I'm pretty excited of where we're going. So I'll touch first on.
And just one thing, I think everybody knows that Josh went to Darien. Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody was aware, just was that.
Yeah, he's
We're really thankful for all that he did. He was tremendous, learned a lot, and it's great for him. We couldn't be happier for him. He's dead to us now, but
finance tonight.
my mic on, did I say that out loud? And,
Yes, you did.
but he did a great job.
Did.
Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Great experience, we know. We welcome to have you join our team, you know. You can see there are a lot of angry residents behind you. And so it's very hostile. But no, seriously, you're joining a really tremendous team. And I think something you can help us with, obviously, for all that we're doing. But also participate in some of the great things that have already, kind of been set as a foundation. So welcome. Okay.
From the budget perspective, from what you recommended to the board, the town council's final vote was a change of $150,000. I gave you a sheet on that highlighted just to show the difference. It's in the Board of Ed's budget. So the total general fund budget moved from 3.56 to 3.47 with that one change. There was no change in capital, just this $150,000. he has any questions on it.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
About their change? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the changes to the internal services fund?
That was under you, so that they took, I don't have the breakdown, sorry, I didn't bring that one, of about 300,000 was under the Board of Finance. Almost half of that came from the Internal Service Fund and half came from their operating. So in total, from their operating, it was $300,000, about a $300,000 cut.
Total was 450.
450 with
Yeah.
150 coming from
Right.
Internal Service Fund.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, no questions.
It took 300,000 out of the
No.
Board of Ed operation, no, 150.
They took 150 out.
Yeah, so where's this 300?
Well, we took.
You took
Oh, yeah.
150.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes, yeah.
okay.
They, right, the superintendent cut 300 with us and an additional 150 with the town council,
Right.
for a total of 450. That's where we are. That's what we got back. And no capital. There were no capital. They didn't cut any capital.
Okay, to the financials, let me see if I can do what Josh does with his magic.
Bob, or I'm sorry, Nick,
Yeah, you mean if you have any questions?
any questions on any of that? I didn't look up when we were going through that to see if your hands were up.
No. I saw the announcement. I watched the town council meetings. He was very, Mike was very appreciative, I think, of all the bodies, ourselves, Board of Selectmen, going through very thoroughly. And so I guess they felt 150, they had to cut something. Unfortunately, they felt that they had to cut despite all the residents coming before the town council to express their support for the budget, but 150 is 150, so.
So from the start of the presentation of the Board of Ed budget until now, we've cut, what, 40 basis points off?
450,000 on 100, and I mean, what number do you want to
14 million,
use?
yeah.
Board of Ed 120.
Okay,
That includes, I think that's in debt, includes debt and everything, right? 120? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Forward with it. Ryan's going to go through the financials with us. We'll start off.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. To start with our,
Get to come every month.
starting with revenue. Our overall year-to-date revenue is 171.5 million, which is 100.9% of the total budget for the year. So that's looking good to me. Tax collections.
Before you go, oh, go ahead. You're gonna go through them? Okay, great. Yep, go ahead.
Current tax collections are 100.7% of the budget amount, totaling 159.2 million. Prior year collections are significantly more than budgeted, with 595,000, 198.5% of the budgeted amount. The increase in the prior year collections, I think, as we heard earlier, primarily due to those payments to avoid the tax lien auctions. Building permit revenue has reached 137.1%, which is a 1.2 million over the 850,000 budget total. Again, pulling further ahead of the pace from last year, from the prior month. This is due to the Burtis and Cherry development permitting. I think that's been ongoing for several months. Conveyance fees have exceeded the 25 budget 102.3%. Totaling 1.53 million of the 1.5 million budget. This puts the town ahead of last year by 399,000 due to a large fee associated with the Riverwood transaction. Parking revenue is at 908,000, or 103.7% of the budget. Again, far ahead, far exceeding last year's number by 191,000. Investment interest is currently at 79% of the budget, which is 1.6 million, ahead of last year's number as well by 376,000. And for the last point I have, tipping fees are 67.6% of the budget, totaling 280,000. A slight decrease from last year, but again, pretty flat. So revenue questions or anything?
Any questions? We can't see you online now with the screen up, with the spreadsheet up.
No, no,
Bob, anybody?
no.
All good.
Are we going to invite the treasurer to come in and give us a recap on?
Should do that in May,
Ken, you want that for the May meeting? Yeah.
because we need to know what we're gonna end up with here.
Yeah,
We're on target. I took a look at what our monthly is, and as you know, we'll pull down 10 to 20 million at the end of the fiscal year. That's the floater we need back. We're on target to definitely, I think we're gonna hit our budget. It's just how much above, whether it's gonna be 100 or 200,000. We're running at about 180,000 a month right now with that extra 20 million out there.
Okay.
And then that will come back sometime in May. But I'll have them come in for the May meeting.
Do you have a point of view on the excess cost grant?
So the excess cost grant, that'll come in May. Let me think. I think right now we're scheduled to get about another 200,000, so that will be short.
Really?
Yeah, but they've been talking about truing it up. I just haven't heard any of the numbers yet of what they might, and if they're going to hit it this year or they're just going to do it for next year. But we're slated to get about 700, just over $700,000 for this year.
I'll reach out because there was some discussion. I was on a CCM call because this morning and I missed part of it, but the governor's is looking at some special, this is all special ed related excess
Yep.
cost stuff.
Yep.
So, and there's some discussions about, giving more money to the community. So I'll talk to Brian because he's probably closer to that discussion than I am.
Yep.
I guess it's too early to really know with that $1.2 million hanging out there for the tax sale. Because we really can't book it until it's a done deal. And if you give people 6 months, that trips over into the next year. Now, I guess you could settle it between now and July 1. That would be then.
They could, if it comes in between
this
then,
revenue.
otherwise, yeah,
And
it's
then,
next year.
Okay. If it's after that, it becomes next year's revenue. Okay. Okay.
In talking with Sebi, he was hopeful that, or he thought that 2 of the 4 might be coming in before April 22nd. So we'll see if that holds.
Okay. You know roughly what those were of the 1.2?
One of them might be the big one, but we're.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that's
it
the
was a-
1.2, I think it was, right?
Okay.
Yeah. In front of me.
Okay, so we should add another 2 million to this at least. On the variance, we're 1.6 to the good.
You think, doing some estimate, yes, sorry, I was doing some estimates, sorry, with conveyance, permitting, interest income,
And tax collection.
elections, if we get that big one.
What would you-
Because
where are you? What's your estimate?
oh, you put me on the
Ryan,
line
just so you know,
now.
Josh lowballed everything, but we knew it, so it was good. We like to be conservative.
I don't know if it's going to be 2, but definitely 1.5. Not, I don't think taking that big lien sale out, I'm thinking with the 3 months left, it's definitely $1 million plus coming in.
More on top of the 1.6.
Yes, yes.
You're not losing any, so.
Yes, no, I don't think we are. It's, I mean, excess cost definitely. And then unless we have a swing on our unrealized gain or loss.
I
That's the
say we
only-
put in, all of us are gonna put in estimates. Bob, you're totally onto this game here. We're all gonna put in an estimate. Closest to the pin wins on what we're over.
All right.
I'll say 3 million.
Short rates are kind of coming down a little bit.
We're all going with your number. I'm going with her number.
Well, I said an additional 1.5,
right.
so
All right.
I'm
Well, look,
thinking-
we're rooting for at least 3 plus
Yeah.
variance positive, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking, actually. Looks good, though. We like that. All right, walk us through the expenses here.
Okay, bottom line expenses, 116.4 million, which is 66.5% of the total budget amount. I'm not aware of anything that's jumping out at me.
We-
Um,
We went through it today. There's nothing of concern. We are, as you know, we did a budget transfer before for the storm to cover the storm that we had last August, September. We did just get today about 60,000 of that back.
Okay.
We've spent to date, hard dollars, not payroll, we've spent about 130,000.
Okay.
So they have various caps on things. So we'll get some of that money back. But everything else is trending on budget, or we're watching overtime right now. And like I said, I will have a salary adjustment transfer coming in May for you to see. You know, I just have to read line. We had a contract that settled. So we need to redo those salaries. So that'll become in May, but nothing else of concern.
Okay.
Is any questions on it?
Nope. Any questions?
What's next?
It's in good shape.
Review. Is that the review? Okay, so in front you have the budget transfers for review that we put together. So I would ask if anybody has any questions. These are the ones that are under the threshold that departments can transfer within their own departments. These are all general fund transfers between them, and these are just review only. Questions on them? Okay.
Any questions on the transfers?
Now I have the approval ones. These ones, we actually have quite a number of them. The first one, 192,640. That's, if you remember, we voted to take about $1 million of the ARPA funds and recommit that back to the general fund. We did that a month or two ago. Of that $1 million, there was 3 or 4 projects that we were going to hold on to those funds and transfer them into a special project. This is the first of one of them. This is a tree fund that we had identified these funds in ARPA, reason being these would not be completed by December of 22, and that's where the problem would be. So we're putting this into what we call a special project fund. It will not expire so that they can continue on this project and get it done. The second one is, this is actually, this is for Deloitte. We went out and contracted with Deloitte to do a complete analysis on our CHP credits. We don't file a tax return like a private entity, so we went with Deloitte to go through. We have 3 vehicles, I think 4 vehicles and 2 properties. I forget, I should have had that written down. That the estimate right now is 120, 130, could be more of credits coming back. So this is our investment to get this done, get these files. So we've applied for it. Our application has been, the application was completed and acknowledged about 3 weeks ago. So now we're on to the next step of the process so that we can get the funds back, the credit back on that. So I'm asking for a transfer from contingency to finance outside consultant to get that PO, so I can get a PO set up for Deloitte on that one. The next one is taking salary from my finance department.
Hey, Ann,
Yes.
sorry, that refund you're expecting, how much would that be approximately for those vehicles?
It has moved quite a bit. It's gone from anything from 120 to 170. So we're waiting to see what the government comes back with when they do the full analysis of, it was a lot of work for DPW and for Deloitte to go through to get them with the details that they needed. But the dial has been from about 120 to 170.
Okay, thank you.
So the 30,000 I'm asking for is taking the salary that I would have normally for Josh and put it into outside consultants for Ryan. The next is $47,000. We just, our buildings department and DPW have been in contact with DOT. So we need to make some changes and some repairs at 2 train stations. We need Talmadge Hill needs about $25,000 worth of railings, the platform and graffiti and different repairs on that. And Elm Street needs about $100,000 worth of painting. So I'm looking for a transfer from the railroad contingency that they have into their outside contractors. The remainder of that 120,000 that we need, there's an agreement, an MOU with DOT about the railroad that we have to put a certain amount of money away. We have about 78,000 that's sitting there for this type of project. So that will get me to the 125 we need for DPW and buildings to move ahead. And the last one is, Josh has actually talked about this on a couple of ones. Now that we know where the revenue is going and we have our systems in place, the fees are now going to where the revenue is being earned. Before it was going into just finance and we were having a huge fee. So I'm transferring from their contingency into their bank fees now that we've a year behind, nearly a year in what those fees are going to cost us on an annual basis. So if any questions on the transfers.
Questions? Michael, Bob, Jan?
No, I'm good.
I have a question.
Sure.
So for the getting the credits back for the CHP, do we always use consultants to do the paperwork and the background for those kinds of credits?
For this, yes. If you saw some of the forms, I've never heard of half of them. Well, I haven't heard of 90% of the forms that had to be filled out and done, and the documentation needed. So we needed that expertise to be able to do this for us.
And when I heard that we were using consultants for that, do we ever pay the consultants more than the value of the credits that we get from the government?
This is actually from my tenure here, this is the first one I'm aware of that we've paid a consultant to get those level of credits. Before we set the contract with them, they looked at what it was to see whether it was even worth it. We gave them their criteria to see what could we get before we entered into this, to say what's the range. At that point, the range was 100. So we said 35 versus 100, we'll go for it to get those credits, but it has since increased once they got all the documents that they needed from us. They saw that some of the records now were more valuable for us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions, I need a motion to approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second? Maria, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Michael, Bob? No,
Aye.
Good, all good. Okay, thank you. So moved. Okay, that takes us to our executive session. I'd like to move to executive session. Tucker, I think we'll invite all the finance people. Yeah, we could do that. That's fine. Yep. That's not a bad idea. Yep, that's fine. That's a good idea instead of coming back. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay, then, and I don't know if Tiger's on, but Chris, you want to read through them?
Yeah, so there's, sorry. The authorizations that are actually on your agenda that we went through. Tucker has also given you a short version of the authorizations that we can go through, and you have a third sheet that looks like this. That gives you the detail for the dollar amounts within each of those authorizations. And this list here ties to what you had gone through on your 5-year capital plan for both bonded capital and premium use. So,
Okay, so we are going to go through the project's appropriation and bond authorizations. We will read each one, have a vote, and then move on to the next one. Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $91,100 for the parking 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $91,100.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None? So moved.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $555,000 for the fire equipment 2026 project and the financing said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $555,000.
Motion,
Oh, yeah, motion.
motion?
I'll move.
Bob, yep, second. Nick, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So moved.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $143,403 for the Emergency Management 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $143,403. A motion.
I'll move it. Second, Nick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. So moved.
Resolution authoring, resolution authorizing an appropriation of $390,000 for the EMS 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $390,000.
Motion, please. Yep. Victor, second. Maria, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? So moved.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $5,096,500 for the DPW Town Building 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $5,096,500. Motion.
Motion. Steve, second.
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Steve's an
Oh,
alternate.
Steve's an alternate. I apologize. He can't make the second. Need another second.
Second.
Get Bob and
Nick.
Nick. Okay. Motion to approve?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Okay. So moved.
Yeah, you know, we never sent anybody for James, so maybe you want to do
No,
that?
we don't-
No, we'll
we-
just
we'll
go
give you
ahead.
one
We'll
short.
just, we'll be
It's
one
okay.
short. Okay. Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $5,815,000 for the DPW Administration and Engineering 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $5,815,000. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion, Maria. Second.
Second.
Second, Nick Victor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. 5 more to go.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $1,106,500 for the DPW Parks 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,106,500. Motion.
Motion.
Nick.
I'll move it. Oh, and Nick second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $800,000 for the School District Technology 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $800,000.
Motion. Please.
I'll move.
Bob, second. Need a second, Maria? Okay, Bob and Maria. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, so moved.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $1,210,000 for the DPW wastewater treatment 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $1,210,000. Motion.
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 Nick, second. Second. All right, Victor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $270,000 for the bond premium 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the allocation of bond proceeds on hand in an amount not to exceed $270,000. Motion.
Last motion. Come on, Maria, you got one more. Maria, second. I'll do second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Did we do the schools, the fiscal year 20?
I didn't think you did the 800,000.
I thought the 800 is the one we did.
You
did do the-
You didn't do the
remember that.
3013.
Right, that's the one I thought we didn't get yet.
I didn't see 3013. Number 9. You didn't do number 9. I know you did number 8, but I don't remember. I didn't put a name down for number 9.
Oh, okay.
Did you get it?
I don't know, maybe I.
Ray, did you, Tucker? Yeah, okay. We need one more
One more.
for the number 9, yeah,
Sorry.
3,013,000.
Resolution authorizing an appropriation of $3,013,000 for the School 2026 project and the financing of said appropriation by the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town and notes in anticipation of such bonds in an amount not to exceed $3,013,000.
Okay, need a motion.
Motion.
Nick, second.
Second.
Second, Victor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you for that. Okay, now, so Tucker, I'll invite everybody, Board of Finance and Finance, fine. Well, anybody else that's not on needs to leave, and you need to leave. Sorry. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Our agenda team, coming out of executive session, May meeting. Tucker, do you want to go through a few things? Because we have a lot going on in our May meeting.
So at 5 o'clock for the May meeting, the RPAC group will be meeting at 5 p.m. That's James Yao, Bob Hamill, Steve Doka, and Chris Labrise. And then at 6 p.m., all Board of Finance members are needed here for WPCA, where we go over sewer fees, and then we'll go right into the 7 o'clock regular meeting.
I'm happy to get pizza for everybody
Okay.
for that, since some people will be coming here at 5.
When do we set the mill rate?
Again,
That's June.
June? Okay.
June's the mill rate, Bob. Yep. We will, do we need anything else from Brian in May? No? Oh, we'll do,
When's he coming to talk about the insurance?
yeah, I was just gonna say, we normally do that in May. We should have him in May.
We have Russell Investments going to present in May.
Mhm.
We're having a PD update, something you had also asked for
Yep.
in May.
It's a building update.
The update on the investments from Andrew Brooks.
Yes. And then Brian gives us kind of a year end, I'll call it insurance update. He's a lot closer to the year end for his year end. It's August, right? Or September? Yeah, and then he is in February when we meet. So that's May.
Yes, he was gonna come and talk to us about, remember we had the discussion about insured versus a premium insured versus self-insured.
Yeah.
And he was gonna talk to us
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah, perfect.
So that's the May meeting, May 13. And then for June, we'll have, again, everybody will be needed for the WPCA for the new members. That's the Water Pollution Control Authority, which you all have purview over. And that will again be a 6 o'clock start with a 7 o'clock Board of Finance regular meeting.
In June. And we vote on what's the 6 o'clock WPCA?
WPCA sewer fee changes. You have to vote on the changes. You'll hear them in May,
Okay, yes.
in June.
Is there a hearing in May or June, I mean? That's a public hearing.
Yep. And then
Yeah,
we vote on them.
Then we vote on it. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, so we have a lot going on in May to get everything. I try to get a lot done in May to keep the June mill rate conversation and the hearing, it'll be brief. It should be reasonably quick. And everything else will have been heard by then. So, okay. All right, thank you all. With that, need a motion to adjourn. Our motion winner was Maria. Maria, second, please. Thank you. All right, Nick. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.